All right. Sorry, I was trying to share it on Facebook. It takes forever to get it going on Facebook. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
a Facebook problem or
it's got to
probably a
be.
StreamYard problem, actually. All right. Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 233. Is that the right number?
I think
You
so.
check
I don't
that?
know.
I think
I
it's
did
right.
not. I think the last one was 232, but I could be wrong.
I scheduled it into 233, so I think we're good. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I feel like
We
I've
might
done
be
it
at
wrong.
1,000 next week. Who knows?
Yeah, I made an incorrect doc a couple episodes, but I fixed it before the public could see it. So I'm being transparent there. December 4th, 2024. Illinois coming off of a nothing because they haven't played. We just got to get ready for the Friday night game. First Big Ten game of the season for the Illini. A couple of interesting Big Ten games from last night to talk about. And Illinois playing a team that played last night in the Big Ten. That would be Northwestern, who is 6-3 overall, 0-1 in the Big Ten. Non-conference losses to Butler and Dayton. They lost to Iowa at the buzzer last night. Josh Dix, I believe it was, hit a deep three to win. That was at Iowa, 80-79.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This Northwestern team's kind of, they haven't really played anybody. Barnheiser's only been back half the season.
Dayton's good.
Yeah, lost to Dayton. So I think it'll be interesting. I think Illinois is going to I think the matchup is going to be kind of weird for Illinois. So we'll get into that.
I think this Illinois roster is changeable enough. Like, I think they can play a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Makes me less concerned about the matchup, though. I don't know. Northwestern is like, they're pretty tall, and they have a couple guys that have scored a lot of points this year.
Right.
But they don't really seem to have that true, like, floor general type guy. Like, Barnheiser has gotten some games where he's had 4 or more assists. He's got 3 of those out of the 5 that he's played. But I haven't watched enough of their offense to really know. Like, I think this is a team that has good individual players, but I don't know if they're going to be that good of a team. If you look at like what Martinelli's done this year, he's kind of like the Marcus Damask of this team. Like, he just makes a ton of twos and backs guys down.
I think that's a great way to describe him. I think that's kind of his game. So
I don't think I'm the first person to say that either, so I won't take credit for that.
Okay. All right. That's unlike you not taking credit for something.
Well, props to me on that one, huh?
Good work.
Yep.
Yeah. Who have they lost to? Dayton, you said?
Dayton, Butler, and Iowa. Dayton is a pretty good basketball team. Like, Dayton's got some guys. It was a 5-point game. It was closer. I believe Northwestern had a lead in the second half. Dayton outscored them 28-15 in the final 10 minutes to win by 5. Dayton's got 2 losses to North Carolina and Iowa State. They hung around in both those games. They lost to North Carolina by 2. They lost to Iowa State by 5. Dayton's got some guys. They got Malachi Smith's a junior, his 4th year there, 3rd year playing, I believe. They got Santos, who can shoot the 3 ball. They've got Enoch Cheeks, of course, the former Robert Morris guard. He can knock down the triple. Dayton's got some guys. They got Posh Alexander, of course, former St. John's guard. Zed Key, our favorite Ohio State alum or whatever. I don't know if he graduated, but
probably.
So then they lost to Butler by 2 on a neutral site. Butler's also a team that's got some solid players. I mean, of course, Fran McCaffrey's son is there. And, let's think of this. One player that Northwestern didn't have an answer for in a loss was Jamil Telfort, the former power forward, small forward type role he played at Northeastern for 3 years. Now he's at Butler. Last year, he played more of a role where he was playing a little bit more in the front court, took 286 twos. And this year, while similar styles, he's listed as a shooting guard this year. Butler guard went off against this Northwestern team. 6'7", 225, put up 20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 5 for 6 from the field. I'm looking at the wrong game. He had 23 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. I looked at the wrong game. He's a good free throw shooter too, so if he goes to the line. So I'm saying, does Illinois have a 6'7" guy who can play guard and score? It's either Will Riley or Kasparis, right?
Yeah, I'd say they have a couple of them. So
I don't think if you're Northwestern, you're looking at this matchup as a good matchup either.
Right. Yeah. And like where you look at Northwestern is you know, they have the 3 losses that aren't terrible losses, but I mean Eastern hung with them for quite I think Eastern led at half of that game, maybe. Illinois Chicago was within 9 points of them, and then Montana State only lost by 3 to them. So you question in those games, besides Montana State, I think that was Barnheiser's first game back. But of course, they didn't have Barnheiser for the other 2. So I think he is a difference maker for this team that doesn't have potent scorers, which Barnheiser is one of those. So
I also wonder about is this team capable of Illinois? Okay, can I say something about Illinois?
yeah.
I think this team can guard.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you get into kind of a weird spot with this Northwestern team, though, because I assume that you're going to put Boswell on Ty Berry, right? I mean,
feels like a waste.
It feels like a huge waste. So I guess Trey White's guarding Ty Berry.
Well, I think Boswell can handle Barnheiser.
My only worry about Barnheiser is he's like 6'6", right?
I know.
That's my only worry about him.
Do you throw Boswell on Jalen Leach, or do you just throw him on Berry? Because Berry's coming off of a good game. I would say realistically, you probably throw Boswell on Berry and then White on Leach, and then Casper's on Barnheiser, right? Or do you go Casper's on Leach and then White on Barnheiser?
So and then who's Humrickhouse guarding?
Probably Martinelli, which is not great.
That's my worry.
Yeah, they don't. I don't think they have anybody that can guard Martinelli, which I don't know if a lot of teams in the Big Ten do.
I mean, I think that maybe if you get Will Riley out there, I think he could have a chance. I don't know if his strength is. His strength would be the thing that concerns me. So,
do you throw Tomislav on Martinelli? Nicholson's not an offensive threat.
That's true. I don't know. I think that'll be the most interesting thing is how Brad decides to guard this team.
There's only one game this year where Illinois didn't look like they can guard, but it was just Alabama raining it from 3. I don't know if Illinois has a ton of individual good defenders, but they have one guy on the perimeter who's elite, which is Boswell, and they have a 7-footer who can block shots, and Tomislav moves really well.
Yeah,
I think he blocked. Maybe it was Boogie Fland early, got around him, going for a left-hand layup, and he just blocked it. He can move really well. So I don't know if this team has a ton of individual good defenders, but I think as a team they can guard. The metrics tell you that Illinois is an elite defensive team. Of course,
and
they haven't really been challenged.
That makes a big difference having that length at every position. So
they did dominate a team whose offense kind of sets the sport back a little bit with Arkansas.
Yeah,
Arkansas's offense is not good, and Illinois really, without the referees for Thero, I think Illinois gives up 70, maybe less, against Arkansas. But I think at one point we believed this team just needed to be an average defense to be good, but I think they are an average defense almost no matter what. I don't know. I think they can guard. I think we were wrong early.
Yeah. I think that was a lot of Brad, trying to get them to be better at it too. He's the one that put that out there that the team couldn't guard. So maybe his offense is just too good. That's why it looked like they couldn't guard.
It is crazy how seamlessly the last 2 years of figuring out the best way to run an offense for the team, how good they've been the last 2 years at it.
Yeah. And if you look at the Iowa game, Iowa's shooters got shots up. I think Sanford shot 9 threes. Dix had 8 threes. So the guys that shoot for Iowa, they got shots up. And so I expect Illinois to shoot 35 at least.
Northwestern's easiest route to winning this game is to have Martinelli and Barnheiser have good games like they did against Iowa, but you have to find a way to stop Illinois' offense a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think it's going to be harder to stop Illinois' offense than it was than Iowa. Right now in efficiency, Iowa's 38th in the country. Illinois, I believe, is 19th maybe or something. Yeah, 19th. So Illinois is also just the talent disparity, I think, in this matchup is pretty big. I think Illinois is a lot more talented than Northwestern.
Yeah.
So, and I think they have a better coach. I think Illinois has a better coach. And I think Illinois has better everything except they're playing on the road in the Big Ten, and you never know. And they've lost in this place 2 times in a row, once in a row. They lost last year in overtime.
Yeah. And
thanks, Justin Harmon.
Another sellout. So we got some comments. Bootzilla, what's up? Jeffrey, what's up? Quackle, Bergie, Justin, how are you guys? Jeffrey says this team is hard to talk about. I like what they're doing on offense. They're young, so my expectations are not too high or unrealistic. Just waiting for who the alpha is.
Did you watch Casper's last
game?
Two
others be consistent.
Pretty alpha second half from the young Yakachonis.
Yeah, super alpha finish for him. What's up, Tommy? Jeffrey says Northwestern doesn't look good at all this year. Tommy says once this team finds itself, the sky's the limit. Quackle says we always struggle at Welsh Ryan. Let's break the cycle this year and take it to them.
Struggle when Northwestern isn't terrible. Yeah. Do you guys remember when Illinois, the 1 seed team, outscored Northwestern 50-15 in this building 4 years ago? So once Northwestern started to not be terrible is when Illinois started to kind of struggle here. And also, I think Illinois will be down at the half in this game. I think they'll be down 4 or 5 at the half because it's a road environment, your first true road environment.
True Big Ten, road environment. Yeah,
and
I could see that.
None of these guys have played in a game like that. So I could see a little bit of a slow start. But also, the way to prevent a slow start is just come out and make shots. If Hummerkaus knocks down a 3 earlier, if Tomaslav's shooting it from 3 well early, I'm not worried at all. And also, another good part about this is I have zero fear of another team's length or another team having a 7-footer who can block shots with this team. Last year, you had Coleman Hawkins at the 5. It was maybe a bit more of a concern, but I just think this team is. I don't know how this season is going to go. I know that they're 6-1, and I said they couldn't win a national championship. I stand by that, unfortunately. But I think the way that they handled building this roster was perfect. And I know they lost Fears kind of by design to get
we traded Fears for Riley, basically. Right?
Or you could say that they liked Casper so much that they
true. Yeah.
They
wanted Fears for next year is what they wanted.
Because they know Casper's
needed to play.
When it comes to one and done percentages on this team, Casper is 99% one and done.
Mm-hmm.
Will Riley, I think right now is a 78% one and done, which could go up or it could go down. So there's no doubt that this team's going to need a new point guard next year. And I'm wondering if Boswell continues to create a little bit of NBA buzz, he could be one of those late first, early second round picks next year, with his defense and his body, and if he can find his shot.
Yeah, he's got to start shooting it better. Bootzilla says Alpha Chionis. I like that.
It's Chonis, I believe.
Alpha Chonis.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, threw that O in there. That is
maybe we're too high on the team right now. I'm wondering. Do you think we've gone too far?
I think this game's gonna revert Illinois fans back a little bit. I think we were really high after Arkansas, but again, Illinois played offensively one of the best games they could with the way they shot the 3. So you're not gonna have that every night. You're gonna have some struggles. Again, Illinois on paper should be better than this Northwestern team, but like you said, going on the road, sold out crowd. Hopefully half those people are Illinois fans. But they're going to get their feet wet right here. I picked them to lose this game when we did our preseason thing. So we'll see what my opinion is now.
That's a weird thing to do, to pick against them for this game.
Well, I had to give them another loss, and they haven't been able to win at Northwestern. So
I think if you win the next 2 games and you're 8-1, 2-0 in the Big Ten going into the game against Tennessee at home, where the building's going to be rocking, you need great opportunity there. Let's just be really high on them for a second. Let's say they beat Northwestern, they beat Wisconsin, they beat Tennessee. It's a top 10 team, right? Going into the game against Missouri, it's a top 10 team.
Would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, they're already 19th?
Yep.
I said they'd be 22nd. I was wrong. It helps that some teams helped them out by losing.
Yeah. Wisconsin losing at home to Michigan.
What do you think the spread's going to be in this game?
Who?
We'll talk about Wisconsin, Michigan later.
Illinois 3.5, maybe?
Can't be out yet, right?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it'll be 3.5. I bet it'll be
Less.
1.5 maybe.
Yeah. Jeffrey says, I only got one knock on Tommy. Sometimes he doesn't really go up to deny the alley-oop pass. I think I don't feel like anybody from Illinois does that. I think that's designed into Brad's defense.
Ken Palm spread is 4.5, by the way.
There you go. Brady over on X says, Illini feel like a feast or famine team. It's going to be a roller coaster season. My prediction, don't seem like big contenders, but could really make noise in the dance. Can't remember an Illini team built like this, but I like it. I think they have a chance to be contenders, but yeah, like I said, I think expectations are high right now after seeing Tomislav go 6 of 9 from 3, which helps.
I don't see why this team couldn't contend at the Big Ten. There's no world beater in the Big Ten.
I would agree with that too.
I mean, it's just Purdue's the only one ahead of them on Ken Palm right now. Purdue's 13th, Illinois 14th, and then you have Michigan 17th, UCLA 18th, Ohio State 19th. Like, you have 5 top 20 metric Big Ten teams right now, then Oregon 21st, and then Maryland's 30th. So you have like a bunch of them in the top 30, but there's no world beater. There's no team that you're really afraid of. There's no team that you think you can't beat. I would love to see this team win this game on the road, go home, just kill Wisconsin. Like, don't leave any doubt. This team is more than capable of killing Wisconsin, I believe. A Wisconsin team who really, like, I don't know why I have to do this whole song and dance with Wisconsin every year. Greg Gard needs to cut the shit. Actually, Greg Gard, for once, can you have like a really good Big Ten season instead of like last year they're 13-3 and everyone's so high on them because they beat Marquette, they beat Michigan State, they beat a terrible Virginia team, by the way. And then everyone's so high on them, and they go 11-9 in the Big Ten. Like, can you for once go like 14-6 and shut up? Jesus, they lose by 11 to James Madison in the tournament. Like, I'm so sick of the Greg Gard bullshit. And why is it every time that like Wisconsin has a good start, we talk about how great Greg Gard is, and then if Illinois does it, I feel like there's not enough talk about like, Greg Gard inherited a program that had a better head coach before him. Bo Ryan was a better head coach, and Brad inherits a program that has some MAC level loser who ran it into the ground, and he's turned it around. And thanks to us starting our podcast, the program is completely flipped in the right direction. And like, it's just not talked about enough. Like, there's something to stability. Like, we talk about Purdue stability, we talk about Michigan State stability. Illinois has been a pretty stable program for about, I don't know what, 6 years now, five or 6 years.
Yeah.
And nobody talks about it, which is fine. Sometimes it's fun to fly under the radar. And also, not a good look for the metrics last night. So I'm looking at the page right now. Not a good look for the metrics last night that you allowed a Cincinnati team that had beaten nobody and killed every team they played who was nobody. They were 6th on Ken Palm last night, lost outright at Villanova. Bad look for the metrics last night. But that's why metrics aren't the end-all, be-all.
Metrics this early, too, or
it's true.
Because you're beating.
There are like three
teams.
There are 3 teams right now that I know are absolutely elite, and that's Auburn, that's Tennessee, and Gonzaga. And I could be talked into Kansas and Duke being super elite too, but Auburn for sure is the most like. And contrary to what people like Jeffrey believe, I don't think metrics are the end all be all, but I think they're a very important part of what we're looking at here. Like, you can't, the strength of schedule ratings. Like, you're not going to get that stuff if you're just looking at, I just got to watch the eye test the whole time. And,
Yeah. Yep. Embrat says, did you see the Arkansas game was the second most watched college basketball game since 2008? Yeah. 5.1 million views.
Good idea. Good idea
stuff.
by whoever's
idea. Illinois do that every year.
Oh, anybody. I mean, look, and like I said on the podcast after the game, there's no amount of talent right now that could make John Calipari be able to coach and outcoach Brad Underwood. That's just the way it was. That's why I didn't have a ton of confidence going into the game. I was like, I don't know, we'll see with this team, big challenge. But there's no reason to ever lose to Arkansas. Arkansas is not very good. They're just not. Like, it's unfortunate for Illinois. Good thing they beat Miami last night.
That's what I was going to say. I'm glad they ended up pulling that game out, because
I don't know if we have a Big Ten pride thing or not, but they play Michigan next Tuesday, neutral site. Like, I guess we want Arkansas to win that game. Although Michigan, for some reason, I just don't hate Michigan now that Jawan's gone. I don't know why.
It's true. It changes.
I don't even really like. I like Dusty May. I don't like him that much, but
yeah,
I don't know what it is. I don't know.
People, you said that out loud. People, that's
That's just the way it is. I don't know.
here
Jawan
forever
annoyed
now.
me. Jawan annoyed me. Nobody's a bigger fan of. Let's throw another name out there. Like I don't know. I think Jeff Capel's doing a phenomenal job in Pittsburgh. Like, big fan of his. And he's not white. Is that good enough for everybody?
It's not a Big Ten opponent. I'm more saying that you're saying that about Michigan as an Illinois fan.
I thought you were talking about a black-white thing.
Muck Michigan. No, I'm talking about the school. Wow.
I didn't know. I didn't know where you were going.
Right.
I didn't know where you were going.
Can you run down the starters or something? Like, what the heck?
I didn't know where you were going. I thought you were trying to walk me into something.
No.
I just found Michigan to be very annoying when Juwan was there because Illinois owned them. I like Michigan football. I mean, everybody knows that. I was very excited Saturday when they beat Ohio State because I fucking hate Ohio State. Anyway, Northwestern starting 5 last night. They went with Ty Berry, I guess, who's kind of the shortest player, and they get a lot of guys. They don't really have a true point guard, is my takeaway. Ty Berry, 6'3", 190. We know him well. It's his fifth and final year at Northwestern. He's played about 20 to 33 minutes a game this year. He's shooting 36% from three, shot 43% last year. Then they have Jalen Leach, 6'4", 200, a Fairfield transfer, played 4 years at Fairfield. He's been playing some minutes. He's had a couple games where he's gone off. Eastern Illinois in overtime, that close game. But this team went to overtime with Eastern Illinois, by the way, folks.
Overtime.
He had 27 in that game. Gets to the free throw line. He's either going to get there 4 times or he's going to get there 15 times, I think, is where we're at with him. Then, of course, they have Brooks Barnizer, another guy who's been at Northwestern forever, a year 4. He's averaging probably, 20 a game right now?
Yeah. Him and Martinelli are both averaging 20 a game.
And they have Martinelli, of course, year 3, kind of a breakout year so far for him. Kind of plays like a Marcus Damask style role, makes a ton of twos. He's taken by game, this is how many twos he's taken in each game. 10 against Lehigh, 13 against Dayton, 12 against UIC, 11 against Eastern, 20 against Montana State, 10 against Pepperdine, 15. He went 3 for 15 from 2 against Butler. They shut him down. He had 7 points. 8 against UNLV, 15 last night against Iowa. So you know what he's going to do. And then, of course, Matthew Nicholson, 7-footer, had 1 point last night. His season high is 14. He had 14 points, 5 rebounds. Really doesn't get a lot of rebounds for a 7-footer. He's only had 1 game with double-digit rebounds. It was against Eastern. He had 12. Of course, that was an overtime game. So when it comes to starting 5 against starting 5, I think Illinois clearly has the better starting 5. I think they clearly have the better bench. There's 2 guys on Northwestern that played double-digit minutes off the bench last night. Luke Hunger had 7 points. He's a sophomore. And then Justin Mullins, a junior, had 2 points in 11 minutes. He was at Denver to start, and then last year played a little bit at Northwestern, playing a little bit more this year. But they don't have depth is one of my takeaways. Illinois got better depth. Illinois got a better lineup. Illinois got a better roster. Illinois got a better coach. Illinois got a better color scheme. Illinois beat them in football last week. Boo Buie is gone. R.I.P. Boo Buie, the rivalry or whatever you want to call it.
Talk about somebody that's been there 7 years. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Berry's been there forever too now. Ty Berry's the new Boo Buie.
He is.
I didn't even see that comment until now. So there you go.
Yeah.
We're off of the Juwan Howard thing, right? Nobody remembers that now. We're good.
Yeah, that's thing of the past.
I just thought you were taking me, whatever.
Yeah, that was my bad. I didn't explain that.
100% on you, yeah, no doubt. Not on me at all. And Illinois obviously is going to start Trey White, right? I don't see why you changed it now.
Yeah.
And then you just keep doing it, and Trey White plays 8 minutes, and there we are.
Absolutely.
Do you think Brad's ever mentioned hey Trey, when you touch the ball, you're allowed to pass, right?
You don't gotta do it all. You got some pretty good players around you.
Yeah,
but it's got to be hard to go from Louisville, where you just got to do whatever you want, to come to Illinois, where Brad only lets certain guys do that, and it's not going to be Trey White.
A Trey White revenge game against his former head coach.
Wow.
Last against Arkansas. Kenny Payne's on the Arkansas staff, right?
No idea.
Pretty sure he is. I swear he is. I mean, there's 100% chance. Also, Chin Coleman. How'd your secrets work out with you? You know Brad well, don't you? Idiot. Yeah, Kenny Payne's the associate head coach at Arkansas.
Huh. Good to know.
Kenny Payne is kind of like, I don't know. I think he's better suited in the NBA. I think it's like Juwan. I think both those guys better in the NBA.
True.
Of course, Calipari brings him back.
agree.
You know, Calipari's like, "Hey, you did a terrible job at Louisville. Let's bring you on the staff at Arkansas to replace Antigua, who's an actual good coach."
Come on
Crazy.
over. Yeah.
I saw Tyler Eulis also on the bench for Arkansas, former standout Kentucky guard, former Phoenix Sun. And Calipari's son also on the bench for Arkansas. A who's who of bad coaches. That's a terrible staff. What even is that staff? And then Shane Coleman's like, I know what he likes to do. Okay, yeah, great. That worked out well. And we have Antigua, who's a better coach than you, who probably helped recruit and coached like all these. Arkansas's roster is literally what Kentucky's roster would be if Calipari was there. And they might both suck because Kentucky ruined the SEC streak last night.
Yeah, I don't know how Kentucky got up to number 4 in the country. Just
that is wild.
They didn't bring anybody back. Like they
beat
complete
Duke.
Overhaul with a new coach. Yeah, that's true. All right, what else we got? KenPom or something? You want to do that?
I think we've done all that.
Not?
I think we're good on that. I think we
all right. Can we go to players to watch?
Yeah, we got a few things to discuss around the country tonight.
Yeah, we'll talk about. We'll do a little around CBB after this. Players to watch. I'm gonna go with Tomislav again. I think I went with him last game because I didn't have to change anything. But I think that this is gonna be another favorable matchup for him in the pick and pop with Nicholson in there. It'll be interesting if Collins decides to, run a little bit more with like Luke Hunger or somebody, 6'10", 260 to try to guard Tomislav. If Brad will, try to pump the middle, if they do that, I just don't think Nicholson has any shot trying to guard Tomislav in that pick and pop. So I think that'll be interesting. And then went with Brooks and Barnheiser. Like we said, there's 2 guys on the team that scored 20 plus. We picked them both. We talked about him missing the first 4 games. He's now averaging 20.2 points per game, shooting at about 40% from 3, 8.4 rebounds per game, and 3.8 assists per game. He also, has a mid-range. Northwestern likes to play a little bit of booty ball too. Can get to the basket when they need to. So, like I said before, defensively, it's going to be interesting how Brad matches up against this team. Just because they just have, it's just a weird lineup. It's not, it just doesn't seem like a normal.
It's basically, they basically replaced, Martinelli's taking a step forward and they replaced Boo Buie with Jalen Leach.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think Jalen Leach is as good as Boo Buie was for his last couple of years. So that's tough.
Yeah.
And this team needs to be good defensively. They need to play well defensively in this game to have a chance. I'm going Will Riley for Illinois. It's a road game, freshman. See him make a couple shots early. Like efficiency when he shoots the ball hasn't really been a problem at all in any of these games for the most part. Like Alabama, he wasn't great from the field, but it's understandable, I guess, if you're going to be 2 for 9 or whatever he was in that game. And I think he's going to be asked to do a little bit more defensively in this game if he plays the minutes he's been playing. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I was going to go with Kasparis, but that's just like, we can't go with the Euros.
We can't just keep picking him every time. Yeah, that's true.
And then Martinelli for Northwestern has been probably their best player since Barnheiser hasn't played all the games. But Martinelli, Damask-style role, plays inside the perimeter, old school a little bit. And I'll be curious to see how Illinois guards him because I'm not sure Humrickhouse is going to be the answer the entire game, if he's the answer at all, if he even guards him to begin with.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest matchup is who Brad puts on Martinelli. So predictions, I have flipped. I am going to take Illinois this game. 86 might be a lot of points. Your prediction might be a little bit better than mine, but I'm going to go Illinois wins this 86-79. I think it's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be a battle. I think Illinois is just going to score too many points for Northwestern to beat them. So,
yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring in Northwestern's. I think Illinois will come out a little struggling a little bit. I think they'll put up like 33 in the first half and then put up 44 in the second half. Big second half incoming. I got Illinois 77-71. I think the offense is good, but I worry about if they come out slow, can they reach the 80-plus threshold? So, I mean, I had them scoring over 100 against Eastern. Not a lot of people had that.
Post that pic of Ethan's doppelganger. Let's have a vote and see if everyone else agrees. Did you see that? You don't look at Facebook Messenger, do you?
No.
Yeah, that was me answering you, Jeffrey.
Thanks,
Ronnie, for stopping by. All right. You guys
by the
can
way,
drop your predictions if you want. We're going to talk about what else happened in basketball.
By the way, Illinois. I was going to say something, but then Jeffrey's comment. Now I forgot.
I'll find the picture to show people.
Oh, I lost it. All right.
Sure you care.
Let's go around the universe of college basketball. Tonight may be one of the greatest slates in the history of a Wednesday night, I would say.
This guy's a redhead and he looks like a liberal, so.
Yeah, 0 for 2. I'm not a redhead.
Your beard has a little red, but that guy's beard is really red.
My hair is brown.
Bootzilla says 75-63 Illinois.
And I'm definitely not a liberal. All right. Tonight's slate, Wednesday night, December 4th. Auburn-Duke is going to be a very interesting game. I like Auburn in this game. I think Auburn's a better team. I think they're more physical. I think they're older. They're tougher. I think Bruce Pearl at this stage is a better coach than John Shire. I think Auburn's got the best player in this matchup, although Cooper Flagg probably has the best future of anybody in this matchup. I think Janai Broome is the best player. That's going to be a phenomenal basketball game, though. This is like a super high-level game. I mean, this is almost 1 against 2 in the metrics. It's 1 against 4. But this is a big game for Duke. They're, 5-2?
Yeah.
They've got losses to Kentucky and Kansas. This would be a great loss if you have it. You have 3 great losses if you start 5-3. And if you're Duke, you beat Arizona. I think 5-3 with this schedule is really not a bad start for a team that's as young as this, that has their two most impactful players this season have been freshmen, Knuppel and Flagg, 2 white freshmen too. So there's a little bit of limited athleticism. It's a joke. Kind of true though. Alabama, North Carolina as well. Big night in North Carolina, the state, because you got Chapel Hill and Durham both hosting big-time games against the War Eagle Roll Tide rivalry. Auburn and Alabama on the same side tonight. By the way, Aiden won the SEC last night over the ACC. Just a phenomenally –
I think.
Sorry. Either way, 1 win for the ACC, and it was how the tides have turned. SEC is better at basketball. They're better at football. I mean, the SEC is the conference in college sports now. So finally, those
ESPN,
those rich descendants of slave owners with all the money that they have in the South working out in sports. This is a joke, guys. Everybody relax.
What is going on in this episode?
What I'm saying is probably partly true.
Yeah. Can we talk about how egregious it is that Marquette, Iowa State's on ESPN Plus tonight?
It's pretty bad. That's pretty classic of a Big 12 team to be hosting an ESPN Plus game. That happens like all the time now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they got some contract or something.
That's going to be a great game. You got 2 contrasting guards. One guard is super overrated. The other guard is super underrated. Does anybody know who I'm talking about?
Nope.
Illinois played against this guard, both these guys last year. Cam Jones is underrated for Marquette.
Underrated?
Yes. Hear me out.
When?
In comparison to Lipsy from Iowa State, who is super overrated. Like, they talk about this guy like he's the greatest player ever just because he can defend. It's so stupid. I mean, this guy is 3 for 15 from 3 this year, shooting 20%. He can't shoot. I mean, he's not even that efficient inside the three-point line. This guy totally overrated. So I think Marquette runs him out of the gym. That's probably not true. It'll be a low-scoring game, though. Take the under. I'm going to say 59-55. They're going to muck it up in this game. But we skipped over Pitt and Mississippi State, which is the 3rd highest-rated matchup between the SEC or the slate tonight, which is basically all the top games are from this thing. The first game that's not is Michigan State, or I guess Ohio State, Maryland. But anyway. Mississippi State can guard, and this is going to be a big challenge for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh coming off of a game where they had a big comeback against Ohio State. I don't know if anybody saw that game. It was 48-39 at the half And it was really not even close in the first half for a little bit. But then Pittsburgh rallied. They come back. They win it in overtime. They got 2 guards. They got Leggett, who had 21 in this game, and they got Lowe, who had 28. They got 2 guards who were very good. And on the Mississippi State side, Chris Jan's teams, what do they like to do, folks? They like to play defense. However, interesting, contrasting. Their offense is higher rated in efficiency than their defense. Sure, a shocking development. They're coming off a game where they gave up 87 points to Butler. That is not a good look for Chris Jans. This is a defensive style program, yet they've been really good on the offensive side, probably because they got Riley Kugel, the former Florida Gator, a high-level talented guard who has put up 22 against Butler in the 10-point loss. I have questions, a lot of questions about Mississippi State and what they are. I think Pitt is a better team, but I think this will be a really interesting game to see how Pitt plays on the road in the SEC. Then we got Marquette, Ohio State, like we mentioned, ESPN Plus game. Everybody enjoy that one. I'll have it on. I don't know if all you losers don't have ESPN Plus. I don't know if you'll have it on.
That's really why you said your back hurts, right?
No, the funny thing is, we can get into this now if you'd like. So I have been exercising. It's the time where, Thanksgiving, I don't eat anything like Thanksgiving related, but I also eat a lot of bullshit.
Say, would you have a pizza for Thanksgiving?
I did actually. That is correct. So I started to work out, right? You got to get ready. Golf season next year. I got to be ready. And my lower back has kind of been annoying for the last month, but it hasn't really been anything. But then, so you can kind of use that as a thing for tonight. I wasn't planning on doing that, but now that I've started to talk about that, and when I'm trying to swing, it does hurt, and I don't want to mess it up anymore, especially since my partner's not going to be there next week, so I got to be ready for next week as well. But you've slipped you've slipped a disc before. You know how back injuries are.
My back is in constant pain, but that's because I'm overweight.
Yeah, I mean, it happened. It's golf. I don't want to mess it up more, and I would play tonight, but I just I'm already hurt. I'm already hurt. Everybody gets it.
Yeah, I don't.
But it's a good slate tonight. Maybe I'll definitely not. I'll protest. I won't watch the games tonight in solidarity, even though there's 7 TVs in that place. So you'll be able to watch them too. Baylor UConn, by the way, is another one.
Hopefully that guy gets ESPN Plus.
I mean, Marquette. It's not till 7, and you don't have to watch that game.
Bama, North Carolina will be on every TV.
Do you have ESPN
Do your
Plus?
job. No, I tried to borrow yours one time. Tried to borrow yours one time, and then you told me I couldn't ever borrow it again.
I don't know why you don't have it. You can just get the ESPN Plus Disney and Hulu thing. It's cheap.
What do I need Hulu for, though?
Well, I just think the bundle altogether makes it cheaper.
And what do I need Disney for? I don't watch Disney movies.
Miracles on there.
Liberal
or liberal?
Liberal.
I already said what I was earlier or what I wasn't. But
anyways,
Miracle is on Disney Plus. The hockey movie.
Okay.
Great movie.
Great movie. Jeffrey says, "Can we talk about Houston being overrated all the time?"
Oh.
Go ahead and attack that one.
No, I don't think Houston's quite as good as they usually are this year.
I mean, yeah, San Diego State is playing well.
I have
and their other 2 losses are Bama and all.
Hang on.
Let's calm down.
There are extreme concerns for Houston's offense inside the perimeter. This team is shooting 42.5% from 3. How are they 4-3 when they're shooting 42% from 3? Oh, interesting. People should ask that question to me because I'm sure they're about to. They're shooting 45% from 2, which is 303rd in the country. This team can't score inside the 3-point line. They're gigantic because they're considering Kelvin Sampson teams. Usually they're not that great at it, but they're even worse this year than they were last year. This is way worse than normal. 2 years ago, they were much better at it. They've just fallen off. They've kind of been trending in this direction as a program. It's becoming worse inside the perimeter, and now they're really bad inside the perimeter. It's troubling. They're still a good roster, though. They'll be fine.
Lazy Forrest Gump says AP voters should have to publish their votes. I think you can find them out there somewhere.
I think you can see them, yeah.
Jeffrey wants to know why North Carolina is still in the top 25. No, the question you should be asking is why is UConn still in the top 25? North
UConn
Carolina
has Yeah, I mean,
It's lost to
UConn.
like 1-4, and then Michigan State.
Michigan State's not a great one, but yeah, UConn's lost to what? North Carolina or not North
Dayton,
Carolina, Colorado and Memphis,
Dayton.
Dayton. UConn's in there
Really,
because
Dayton?
I don't know. UConn's in there still because they lost to because they're number 3 in the country, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, if UConn hadn't won 2 national championships in a row, they would not be in the top 25 right now because they're not a top 25 team.
Bootzilla says the older you get, the more it hurts sometimes. Bootzilla, he's 23 years old.
I'm older than that. No, 24 point. I'm 24.11.
Just wait till you get to 39.7. Holy cow.
What can you do?
Anyways, Wesley says great weekend to be a Duck fan.
I kind of feel weird wearing another Big Ten team's colors when the Big Ten title game Saturday. I don't.
It's not your fault that Oregon came into the Big Ten.
Yeah, kind of. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Oh, Bootzilla's talking about himself. All right, sorry.
Selfish guy. Yeah, UConn, like objectively, they have 3 losses that one of them isn't great. The other 2 are somewhat understandable. And their wins are against if you list UConn's wins right now, I mean, nobody has a collection of worse wins. Sacred Heart, New Hampshire, Lemoyne, East Texas A&M, and Maryland Eastern Shore. The best team on that list is Sacred Heart, who's 311th in the country on KenPom. So, yeah, UConn shouldn't be there. But also they won 2 in a row, and I think that's the only reason they're still in. Reputation, the Hurley reputation. That's the only reason they're still in.
And they play Baylor tonight, so they can get them.
And it is hard to drop a team.
Matters.
It is hard to drop a team from 3 to out in one vote, There wasn't any rankings published. I'm just saying, North Carolina lost, and there was another poll, and they lost 2 more, and then there was a poll. This is only one poll for UConn.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Don't make me defend UConn like that. God, I don't want to have to do it every episode. Jesus. Caravan out tonight, too, by the way. So Baylor, big opportunity for Baylor to big opportunity for UConn, too, to win a game. Kansas at Creighton. Creighton hasn't looked great this year. Loved the Jayhawks there in that game. I think the Jayhawks are going to run it up 90 to 68 for Kansas tonight. Texas at NC State. Michigan State at Minnesota. Oregon at USC, a late night. Our first taste of a little late night Big Ten on Big Ten basketball. 9:30 on the Big Ten Network. Oregon, USC. How about that?
9:30.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oof.
That's going to be a bad game because I think Oregon's going to kill them because USC is bad. I think USC and Washington pretty objectively much worse than Oregon and UCLA. USC lost 71-36 against St. Mary's, and then they lost to New Mexico by 10. So safe to say the must bus. It's going to take a while to get that thing started, maybe till next year at USC. I mean, they have not beaten anybody. Their best win's Chattanooga, who I don't think is that great, and they lost at home to Cal. They got obliterated by St. Mary's, lost to New Mexico. By the way, I thought that Players Era thingy that they did during Feast Week, I thought that was pretty good. I think it came off pretty well. Some good games. Rutgers, I think, held up pretty well. Alabama, Houston were also in it, so they did a good job with that.
Wesley wants to know if Oregon's a top 5 team in the Big Ten.
We're talking basketball, yeah. I think they are. I think they're probably somewhere in the 4 to 5 range. I think right now the only teams you feel comfortable putting ahead of them are Purdue, probably Illinois, and maybe Michigan or UCLA.
When I texted you the other night, did you think I was talking about football? Or did you know I was talking about the basketball game?
I was watching both, so I kind of just answered it as if I was watching both.
Okay. Just general answer. Gotcha. All right.
You're a wild card. It could have gone either way. Nobody knows.
I don't know how we spent 45 minutes on this episode, but I got to get moving. So
I got another hour in me if needed. So save that for the next one.
You're welcome to stay and talk to everybody for as long as you
want. Let's just end it with
my buddy texted me the other day and he said that you went on a rant for 25 minutes or whatever about Cooley, and he's like, and Brammer didn't even say a word. I'm like, did he not tell people I wasn't there?
I did.
Okay.
I said something. Yeah.
He
It was
said
early.
you like kind of nonchalantly mentioned something at the end of it, but
Yeah. Well, I said that I had to do that because you're not here or something. End it with Michigan and Wisconsin last night.
yeah,
Michigan beating Wisconsin 67-64 at the Kohl Center. Nobody's be surprised. This is how it is with Wisconsin. This is what they do. This is who they are.
trash.
Every goddamn time. I mean, I don't know why we do it. But like, to be fair to Wisconsin, they do have a couple really solid wins. I mean, I don't know about Arizona this year, but the Pittsburgh win's a good one. Neutral site. But Michigan's got a good collection of players, and I think a better college coach this year. Danny Wolf, as I texted you last night, I was told via several sources that this guy's Nikola Jokic, so we'll see. He's been really
7
efficient
foot?
this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Great start to your Big Ten career when you have 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks, 3 steals, and
Yeah,
you shoot 7 for 11 from the field.
Wisconsin had no answer for him handling the ball and Golden taking and rolling.
Michigan's roster, I don't know if it's as good as Wisconsin, but it's close. And then they have Michigan as a better coach. So they got that going for them. One concern with Michigan, I think, is their offense needs to probably stop turning the ball over so much. They're 327th in the country on offense and turnover percentage, and they need to make a higher percentage of free throws. They're 279th in free throw percentage. Other than that, defensively they look elite. They've played not a tough schedule, but a decently tough schedule considering. I mean, they played TCU, they beat them. They lost to Wake Forest. They played Xavier. They played Virginia Tech, who stinks, but they played them. So I don't know. Props to Michigan. They're 1-0 in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Big few days for Michigan, beating Ohio State in football again. And all that good stuff. But how many SEC, ACC games are there tonight?
I don't know.
I'd like to predict the rest of that real quick.
Okay.
So people know that it's happening. Let's see.
Here,
1, 2, 6. There's 6.
6. There's 6.
Yep.
Predict it. Bama, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Virginia, Florida.
Florida by 100.
Duke, Auburn.
Auburn. 2-1 SEC.
Pittsburgh, Mississippi State.
Give me Pitt. 2-2. Uh-oh.
Texas, North Carolina.
Texas by 100.
3-2. And then Vandy and Virginia.
Vandy by 100. Vandy by 100. 4-2. So what's the final? 13-3 or something?
13-3. Yep.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, yeah, it's 9-1 right now.
You got to work Friday, and we're not doing a watch party, right?
I got to work Friday night, yeah.
Okay.
So Tuesday, I think, is going to be our next watch party, right? The Wisconsin game.
I can't believe we're not doing the first Big Ten game.
You can do it. You can do it.
Embarrassing.
I know it sucks. You can do it, though. You should. You should do it. Do a watch party from home. I'll schedule it.
Where? On my computer, just sitting here?
Watch the game on your monitor. Be like, oh, great pass. Oh, great pass. Bring in some guests. Bring in Jeffrey to join you. Do it.
All right. Anyways.
All right. That was a good episode, I guess. We'll be back Sunday. I don't know. We'll be back Sunday or Monday or something to talk about the Northwestern game and then preview the Wisconsin game. So, all right.